And now I have the privilege of introducing our speaker, Lincee Ray. We're so excited to have her here with us tonight. I discovered Lincee 10 years ago. Someone forwarded me a blog that she wrote about The Bachelor. And at the time, I wasn't even reading The Bachelor, but her blog was so funny that I started watching The Bachelor just so I could read the blog. And I would, every Tuesday after The Bachelor aired, I would refresh my browser just so I could see what she had to say. And Lincee was just so funny. And she started just kind of emailing her friends her thoughts on The Bachelor. And it quickly grew and grew and grew, where all these women were saying, add me to your list, add me to your list. So from there, she created a blog and then launched her own website called IHateGreenBeans.com. So some of you might be wondering why we have rose petals on the table. The roses are in honor of The Bachelor, and the green beans are in honor of our wonderful speaker and her website. And so now she blogs there regularly, and you'll hear anything from The Bachelor, of course, Dancing with the Stars, the soundtrack of the 80s, Ryan Gosling, and her faith all rolled into one. So it's definitely a website I've grown to love. And she, since her Bachelor blogging days, has become a full-time writer, and she writes for Entertainment Weekly, Huffington Post, the Associated Press, CBS.com. So those are just a few of some of the places that you'll see her. So we're so excited to have her. She is just real, down to earth, and so funny. So please join me in welcoming Lincee Ray.
That's awesome. I just Instagrammed about the centerpiece. Yeah, and it took me a while to get the caption because I thought rose petals for Bachelor, the light for Jesus, and the green beans apparently because they hate me. But I realized it came from the heart, and I think that's wonderful, which in a sense, because there are green beans, the changing seasons lady get me. They get me, and I love it, and it's all out there. And all my friends who've been praying for me in this event just came back, that's perfect, that's a perfect centerpiece. And I said, they get me, we're already to a good start. So let's talk about The Bachelor. Raise your hand if you've watched the show. Come on. Oh, yes. Hands down. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you did not raise your hand because you are embarrassed to admit you watched the show. All right, that's what I thought. So I've been recapping The Bachelor, as Elizabeth said, for a decade. Let's marinate in that sentence for just a little bit. It says a lot about me. It says a lot about America. A decade. So I feel like I'm like a connoisseur, if you will, of the dating scene. Only from what I've learned of what not to do when you're going on a date from this show. Am I right? For those of you who don't know what The Bachelor is, let me explain really quickly the gist. We have this guy and 25 ladies who have flown across the world to meet him and fall in love in roughly 3 weeks. Perfect recipe for a good, hearty marriage. So, as the show goes on, these women are fed alcohol and no food and more alcohol. They take all their screens away and books, and they have to interact with each other. That's all they have. So there's a lot of crying. There's a lot of, I had no idea this would be so hard. I can't believe he's dating my best friend who I met last week. A lot of that, lots and lots and lots of drama. And each episode, at the end, the Bachelor either gives you a rose or he does not. If you get the rose, you get to move on your journey of love. If you don't get the rose, you have to be rejected and cry that you're 23 and haven't found Mr. Right yet. So the goal is to be the last one standing with the rose, and that means you get married and live happily ever after until your ABC contract is up. So as I said, I think I'm an expert on, because I've watched the show and studied it for 36 seasons, because we have spin-offs, Bachelorette, Bachelor Pad, Bachelor in Paradise, 36 seasons. I have figured out what not to do on a date. So I'm going to give you my wisdom, okay? Get ready. Number 1, do not purchase your wardrobe from Build-A-Bear. It's too tight. It's too tight. I should never wonder if your denim shorts are denim panties. Right? Number 2, at the cocktail party, I don't want to wonder if you got your outfit and copied it from Michelle Kwan's short program during the 98 Nagano Olympics. It's too short. Let's get a cocktail dress that's longer. I don't need to see your nether regions, neither does America. Lengthen it, okay? Number 3, alcohol. Let's just say no to it. Let's just say no. I know they don't feed you. Just ask for water. It makes you say things you don't want to do. It makes you do things you don't want to do. It makes you ugly cry, and nobody wants to see that. And whenever you think in your head, it's going to be a good idea for me to jump in the pool fully clothed, that's vodka talking. That's vodka talking. Don't listen to it. Let's just not even drink, and that'll make everything easier. 4th, don't talk bad about the other women. You wait and write your tell-all book after you leave. That's just smart. And the 5th thing is, let's not scrapbook after your second date about what your kids are going to look like and that your wedding colors are blush and bashful. He's going to get freaked out and think you're crazy. So, right? Am I right? Thank you. So now that we know what not to do, I took all of this knowledge and thought, I can not do this. I'm not crazy. This will work. And so I did something that all single people, as I am, across America think about doing but are too scared to pull the trigger. I went speed dating with this information. I want you to think about speed dating right now. Just conjure that image up. And it wasn't as bad as what you're thinking. It was worse in every way possible, times 10. So I'm going to tell you a little story about speed dating. My experience, again, I want to impart my wisdom. I went with my friend Catherine, and we decided, you know what, we're going to go all in. We're going to try this. How bad could it be? Bad. How bad could it be? So we arrive looking fabulous, feeling fabulous. If I'm honest, butt clenched, thinking, what's going to happen? And we arrive at the lounge, and we see the staging area for the speed dating. There's tables and numbers and mood lighting and everything, but nobody's around. So I'm thinking we got the wrong time, or maybe nobody's going to come. And suddenly, Judy, behind the bar, takes a cardboard box and she pours out all these name tags, and people come from the woodworks, I don't know where they were, and grab name tags and put them on, and everybody's ready to go. And it was a special group of people. I say that in love, special group of people that I was with, me included. And so I'm sitting there thinking, all right, it's totally fine, we can do this. Judy says, okay, everybody, I need you to gather around for speed dating. And I thought, where's my complimentary breath mint, first of all? Number 2, Judy, shouldn't you be a little bit more energetic? It's like she would rather be getting her yearly well woman exam than hand-holding a bunch of rookie speed daters. And so we're looking at her, and she says, okay, the girls sit on the outside, the boys sit on the inside. You got 8 minutes. I'm going to ring a bell, and then the boys rotate. Okay, everybody ready? And I thought, yay. So here's Judy with her bell. She dings it, and here we go. I sit down at my table. Catherine's beside me, and there's this little sheet of paper. And it says name, where I'm supposed to write the dude's name down. It has this blank space where I write notes, copious note-taking in this 8 minutes that I get. And a box that you literally old school style check yes or no. All right, let's go. So I'm ready. First up is Ted, the nervous laugher. Hey, Ted, how are you? Hi. was like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. And so I decided to call a spade a spade. I was like, gosh, this is weird, Ted. We're speed dating, right? And he, no eye contact. Yeah. What do you do for a living, Ted? Chemical engineer. So I knew this was going to be a one-sided conversation. He did not ask me anything. And so then I said, you know what? I'm going to see how long he'll sit in silence. So I just sit there smiling at him. And for 30 seconds, y'all, he would have gone longer had Judy not rang her bell. He's up, he's out. And I look at Catherine, and she looks at me like, oh, get ready for this guy. So his name is Jason. Hi, Jason. How are you? Hey. Lincee, how do you, L-I, he's writing in his paper, Lincee, that's weird. I went, that is weird, but I'm not weird, I'm cool. And I paused for laughter. He did not laugh. So I said, Jason, what do you do for fun? Or he asked me, what do you do for fun? And I said, I like to be with friends, like to have dinner, we like to dance, I like to go to the movies, and I read. And he perked up at read. He goes, oh, what are you reading? And I didn't think Jason was one to want to hear that I was reading The Hunger Games. And so I said, what's been on my bedside table forever that I'm trying to get to, but I don't. And I said, The Prince of Tides. And he said, what are you reading, Jason? And he said, well, I'm reading The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. I wasn't really in a Nazi Germany kind of mood, so I said, oh, well, what's your favorite book of all time? And he said, Lord of the Rings. And I said, oh, great, I love Lord of the Rings. He goes, did you read it? And I said, well, he went, you watched it, didn't you? And I said, I read The Hobbit. And he goes, I kid you not, he does this. Note-taking on this weird spelling girl. And I said, my approval addict wanted to go, look, Middle-earth, Gollum, whatever. And I was trying, but then I thought, no, Jason has made his decision. There's nothing I can do about it. And then, okay, here we go. Next one. And it was vanilla people here and there. Some of them I remember, some of them I don't. And we're getting towards the end, and one guy I wanted to go, have you ever kissed a girl? But I thought that would be rude, so I didn't ask him. And then here comes Mel. And Mel sits down, and he looks delightful and nice and normal. And I said, hi, Mel. And he goes, hey, real quick, do you mind if I write some stuff down about the other women? Because 8 minutes isn't very long. Is that okay? And I went, sure. And so here's Mel. And here I am. How's it going, Mel? Good. Yeah, hold on. And then he looks at my friend, and he's trying to read her name tag. I said, she's Catherine. And he goes, oh, great, thanks. With a C or a K? And I went, with a C. And he writes it down. And he said, okay, well, thanks for letting me do that. So here we go. Bye, Mel. It was great. Then with careful swagger, Giovanni shows up. He was trying out for the Houston version of Jersey Shore, I'm quite confident, because he had on a purple silk something, open to hair, and black hair, and gold, and slick, and he doesn't need a piece of paper. He just has his scotch. And he looks me straight in the eye, and he said, you have beautiful teeth. Thanks, Giovanni. All right. So at the end of the night, my tally was number of engineers, 6. Number of dudes who love Game of Thrones, 3. 1 oily bohunk. And 0 love matches. Darn it. Oh, y'all were sweet. Oh. Yes. But the thing about it is, it was 0 on both sides, meaning I did not check yes for anybody, and no one checked yes for me either. And so at the end of the day, we laugh and we think, oh my gosh, that's so funny, that's great. But you still end up with a little bit of rejection, that little sting of rejection, where the first place you look is the mirror. And you think, okay, well, maybe I'm not pretty enough, or I guess I should lose 10 pounds. I don't really like it when my arm flaps when I wave, so maybe I should lift something. Also, maybe a little Botox, because ever since I turned 40, I feel like my face is falling off to my skull. And I called my mom and told her I had Bell's palsy, and she said, no, honey, that's gravity. That's time marching on all over your face. Oh. So maybe he wants somebody younger? I don't know. And then the next place you look is your personality. And you think, well, I shouldn't be so sarcastic. I need to be more serious. Maybe he's just uninterested in anything I have to say. Maybe I need a better job. I don't know. And then you get to your status and you think, well, he's probably thinking, he can do better than me. Is that true? That's weird. And you start putting all of your lists together, and the Botox, and the age, and the prettiness, and the weight, and the sarcasm, and the job, and you can't help but come to a logical place of, I'm unlovable. Otherwise, I would be with somebody, right? And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Lincee, did you really want the oily bohunk or Lord of the Rings guy? I'm feeling like we dodged a bullet here. And to that, I would say, yes, we did. But I did want, and I did see myself with a guy named Chris. In fact, I married him. So about when I was 17 years old, I met Chris in high school, and we dated all through high school. We dated all through college. We dated all through our 20s. We practically rode out of our tiny little town on a homecoming float with toilet paper, waving at everybody. Everybody knew us. We were great. And then when I was 27 years old, I got married, and 29, I accidentally found out that he was having an affair with a woman at work, and it crushed me in every way possible because I didn't see it coming, and this was the man I was supposed to be with for the rest of my life. And so I sat there thinking, whenever you're given this horrible thing and you've lived your life in the best way possible, I thought if you lived your life well, then everything good happened to you. But that's not what it says in the Bible. It says you're not going to go around the valley of the shadow of death or over it or skip it altogether. You're going through the valley of the shadow of the death. So I thought, okay, in that part in our vows where we said for better or for worse, I took that seriously, and this is the worst. So I'm going to stick it out. We're going to go to counseling. Everything's going to be great. It's going to make me stronger. It's going to make our marriage stronger. And so for 6 months, I stayed, and we worked at it. We moved back to East Texas from Dallas, so I didn't have a job just yet. We're living in a rented apartment, and on Christmas Day, he takes me by the shoulders, and he says, I am choosing her. And what she and I have is real because I've tried to give her up, and I can't. I've tried. What you and I have is really great on paper. So in a moment, he chose the girl to live his life with, and I had no choice but to sign the dotted line of the divorce papers. And it was a very, very, very hard time. In moments like these, you kind of don't know what to do because I didn't have a husband. I didn't have a place to live because I left. I didn't have a job, so I go to my parents' house, which feels really lame at 29. And you have a choice to make. You can either, 1, wallow, or 2, pull yourself up by your bootstrings and move on. And ladies, I wallowed. Oh, I wallowed. Wallowed. We're talking in the bed with the bag of Cheetos, with the gummy bears, and entire 10 seasons of Friends. And I did not leave the bed. I did not take a shower. No deodorant. No guys were lining up to give me their rose. That's what I'm talking about right now. None of them. And it just got weird because I didn't know what to do. I had found my identity in Chris for so many years. I didn't know how to be just Lincee because I had been Chris and Lincee forever, or Chris's wife forever. And so I was trying to figure it out. And so no men were standing in line to give me their rose for sure. But as the months drug on into days and weeks and months, and you're going in, and little by little, slowly, hope just kind of creeps in there. And it started with my people and my tribe and my squad and those women that you have in your life. Those women that sit there and let you cry because they know that you are broken into a million pieces and they know you're never going to be the same again. Mama always said, dab with your ring finger because it's the weakest. That's what Mama said. She told me that tonight, too. She goes, you're going to cry, so dab with that ring. Yeah. So your people show up. They know you're broken in a million pieces, and they are going to help put you back together, and they know you're never going to be the same again. And so they are there for you, and they're the ones who let you cry. They're the ones that let you grieve. They're the ones that speak truth, and they're the ones to slowly pull you out of the fetal position because you can't do it by yourself. So Jill would call, and Rebecca would call, and those are my people. They're the ones I want in the trenches with me. And I knew they got together because Rebecca would call and say, hey, today, all you have to do is get out of the bed and put your shoes on. And I went, why do I have to put my shoes on? And she said, because when you put your shoes on, you don't get back in the bed. And I went, okay, and I don't want, no bra, you don't have to put on bra. You don't have to put on makeup. You don't have to put on clothes. You put your shoes on with your pajamas and get out of the bed, and that is a victory today. And I said, I can do that, sure, yeah, all right. And so I just wander around my bedroom at my parents' house, but I was up, I was vertical, victory. Then 2 or 3 days later, Jill calls. Hey, today you need to get out of your bed and put your shoes on, but you need to go outside too. Do I have to wear my bra? Rebecca says I don't have to wear my bra. No, you don't have to wear your bra. You don't have to wear makeup. You don't have to wear clothes. You just have to get up, put on your shoes, and go outside for 5 minutes. And that's what I did. And slowly they're helping me get back to life, get back to reality, get back to humanity, living. And you grab that list again, that list we made a long time ago, and I look at my appearance and I think, okay, well, maybe I do need to run off the Cheetos and the gummy bears that I've been eating for 3 months. The endorphins will help me, sure. Okay, maybe I'm going to change my hair drastically. I'm going to cut it off and I'm going to make it a new color. That'll be good. And mascara helps everything. A new tube of mascara, that'll be great. That'll help. Good deal. Okay, I think that's good. I can do that. And then you look at your Bible, and I decided to memorize Psalm 139. And it was 32 days until a really important wedding that I did not feel about participating in. And this dear friend, another one of my trench girls, said, I'll memorize it with you, and we will recite it the day of the wedding, and you will feel good, and you will feel loved, and you won't feel weirded out that this is your first wedding since your own ended. Okay, so I memorized Psalm 139, and it's the one and it says, for you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Mama. I will praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. It's a fact. So that was a good. Then you look at your personality. And I wanted to embrace my gifts and serve others. And my gift was writing. It's what I did for a living. And so 3 months before Chris cheated, I started this tiny little email chain, actually, that blew up into a website where I was recapping this ridiculous show called The Bachelor. And what I find so interesting, it's this silly little show and this silly little website was born in the darkest time of my life, the darkest time of my life. And Jill would call and I wouldn't answer, and Mama would come in and I wouldn't talk to her, and my sister would try to get me out and I didn't, but every Monday I got up and watched The Bachelor. And every Monday night I wrote funny things, hopefully, and interesting things, and every Tuesday, I would look at those comments and watch people talk about what I had written, and it was my lifeline. And I think it's so beautiful how God took the bachelor of all things and got me out of the darkest time in my life. That is beauty from ashes, if I've ever heard it. Beauty from ashes. And so finally you get to the status part and you think, I'm unlovable, so how do we do that? I worked very hard in an oil and gas job that I hated. I prayed all the time, multiple times a day, sometimes just saying Jesus, because that's all I knew to say. Just Jesus for all of that over there, Jesus, take care of it. I put my nose in the Bible. I joined a Bible study and decided that I'm going to find my hope in Christ. I decided I'm not going to look for approval in Chris Moore, of all people. I'm not going to look for approval in a date on speed dating. I'm not going to look for approval in a future relationship. I'm not going to find approval in a man, in a child that I don't have, in my parents, in my friends, in the world. I'm not going to find peace in my job. I'm not going to find peace with my bank account. I'm not going to find peace in my wardrobe. I'm not going to find peace in status. I'm just not. I'm going to find my identity in Christ. Done. So Zephaniah 3:17 says, the Lord delights in me. And Romans 8:39 says, nothing can separate me from his love. The Lord delights in me, and nothing can separate me from his love. No one ever said it was going to be easy, but I am here to tell you it is worth it. It is worth it. He knows my name. He knows your name. And he has made every single one of us a promise that if we trust in him with all of our heart, he will carry us in the palm of his hand for the rest of our days. That is big time love. He is sovereign. He is good, so good. And he is offering you so much more than a rose. He is offering you life to the fullest. And I truly hope that you accept it. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it.